Hi, this is Jesse Barkasy. It is Sunday, January 1st, 2017 at approximately 9:10 in the evening. Today I want to talk about how to win, how to excel, and how to improve. So you'll notice that I have created a video, How to Win. I did it yesterday. And so I went through the video and found there was a lot of pauses, a lot of things I left out. So I want to improve upon that video. So that's the first lesson. How to win is to constantly improve your product, your service, your diet, your sleep habits, things like that. So I'm going to attempt to make a better video, more precise, with a little bit more information than I had in the last one to make things more clear. So I'm going to start with some stories about myself and then about my son. I'm going to start when I was 8 or 9, go into my 30s. And then I'm going to go forward to when my son was born and his experience with baseball. So I'll go through my experience with martial arts. But I'm going to start back in 4th grade before I even took martial arts. I always wanted to take martial arts. Probably a little bit influenced by my brother, and he had a friend that I remember him meeting with, and this guy would stand up straight, always wear a nice press suit. He had a briefcase. He would always be smiling, and he looked like he was strong. He just walked strong. You could see his leg muscles through the suit he wore. I was a very young kid, probably 6, 7 years old, and I don't remember his name. And maybe my brother had a little influence in the martial arts, but I always wanted to do that karate. I wanted to be a black belt. So I didn't get to do that. There was just, my father didn't have any time. I didn't really know how to look it up. There was no internet, so if you didn't pass by a school or wasn't in the yellow pages, you just didn't know if any was around. So pretty much we had, in 4th grade, I had my first male teacher, and his name was Mr. Gibson, and he was a very strong guy. You know, he smoked though, which was kind of strange. You know, we could smell the smoke on him in the classroom. Didn't smoke in class, but he was a strong guy and just masculine, you know. And he allowed us to do things like arm wrestle in class. So there was this one kid, his name was Andy, and he was like the strongest kid in the whole grade. Just either naturally strong, or I don't know if he worked out at home, or maybe both. But he was just a stout, strong kid. And he would go around arm wrestling everybody. So he would beat everybody, and he was going from one guy to the next. So I was kind of not athletic. My father changed my writing hand from my lefty to my righty, so I didn't write very well, and I think that kind of diminished my confidence a little bit in sports. Now I could write well. I'd throw lefty, righty. He didn't want me to experience having to find a desk that was lefty. He didn't think there was any in the schools. So in any case, I didn't even think about it back then. He just said write with your right hand, and I just did it, not even thinking about it, but I couldn't write that neat. So this kid, Andy, would go around beating people with arm wrestling, and I was like, oh my God, I was a skinny kid. He's going to come around to me and beat me. I don't want to get beat in front of everybody. So somehow I found out that if you exercise, you can get stronger if you did push-ups. I don't know how I found it out. And, you know, when you're a kid, you don't know. And we didn't have the internet and everything back then. So I decided to start to do 10 push-ups a day. I got up to 20 push-ups a day. And I could hardly do them. But for 30 days or so, maybe 35 to 40 days, I was doing push-ups while, you know, every few days, Andy would go and beat another kid and beat another kid and beat another kid. So what happened is I kind of like avoided it, but I knew I couldn't avoid it forever. And eventually they said, oh, well, who didn't Andy arm wrestle? He arm wrestled this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, blah, 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 blah. And they said, Jesse didn't arm wrestle him. I'm like, oh my God. So, okay, here it goes. I felt kind of strong. I knew I was stronger. I still didn't know if I was going to beat him. So we go to the desk, and Andy puts his arm, and I could feel he's strong, you know. Put the arm up, and somebody's holding our hands. They did it quite professionally back then. I don't know how the kids knew how to do that. And, okay, ready, set, go. And I really beat him very easily. It was fairly easy. I was surprised. Everybody in the room was surprised. And I realized that my preparation, you know, that back then I didn't think about it too much, but it was the preparation over that month that allowed me to beat him. I don't think I would have beat him if it wasn't for the month. I might have tied him, or he might have beat me. You know, I didn't, maybe I was stronger than I thought, but I'm pretty sure it was just the push-ups that made me win. Okay, so time goes on. That's like 8 or 9 years old. 10 years old, nothing's happening. I'm doing the push-ups, not really carrying much. Then I saw something in the newspaper about the Police Athletic League, where they train kids to weightlift correctly and to exercise properly, how to breathe right. And there was a picture of this kid, and he was like, his name was Jeff, and he had big muscles. Come to find out, when I went there, he was quite short. So shorter people do have bigger muscles, but in the paper you didn't know this, and it just looked like this little Hulk. He's 13 years old. So I went to the Police Athletic League, and they trained me really well. I'd go there 2 or 3 times a week, and it's getting much stronger. Learning how to bench press and all that. By the time, I'll skip a little forward, by the time 8th grade came, I was only maybe 110 pounds, and maybe 100 at the most, or maybe 90 or 100, I'm not sure. And I could bench press 160 pounds. I think I said I could bench press almost 50, double my weight back then, so I might have been around 80-something pounds. And that was very impressive to myself and to others. I think I could bench press more than most kids in 8th grade. Now, as the kids grew and they had their growth spurts, I got passed out in high school, of course, but I think in 8th grade I was pretty much the strongest. So, backtrack a little bit now. When I was 12 years old, I finally had enough money from doing newspapers and shoveling driveways and mowing lawns at 8, 9, 10 years old. I had enough money to pay for a martial arts class that we saw in the Yellow Pages. It was a karate judo place. It was a Washin-Ryu karate and then a judo place. So I liked that. You could wrestle and punch and kick. And we ended up going there. It was like $30, $35 a month in the next town over. My father would take me 5 days a week, and he thought I was going to quit. And I would go home and practice 2 or 3 hours when I got home. As a couple years went by, me and this other kid, Brian, who also loved martial arts a lot and would practice extra as well. He'd come 5 days a week. We would spar each other. We were pretty much equal. He might have been better at certain things than I was, and then I was better at certain other things. Maybe I was a little stronger. Maybe he was a little more finesse in the forms and the kata. So we would practice there, and over time, when I got to know the instructor, they needed the place clean. So once a week, I'd come in and clean the place. And I remember the wife of the instructor came to me and said I would clean the bathroom and the dojo and dust the trophies of the instructor. And she said, "Oh my God, the bathroom is so beautiful and clean. Thank you very much." And they ended up letting me clean the place 3 or 4 times a month for a payment. I forget what it was. It was like $30 to $40 a month back then. I think schools now charge anywhere from $100 to $200 a month. So anyway, that was in the 80s. So time goes on, and we're practicing, me and Brian, and we started to beat the older men in the class. They were in their 20s and 30s. We started to match them and even beat them. And they would complain that we were trying to get too much of our money's worth. We were coming to every class. That wasn't really the case. The reality was we loved practicing, and we had time. We were kids. We worked these part-time jobs, went to school. So we started to beat the adults as we got closer to blue belt, purple belt, brown belt, worked up. So I got very good at martial arts, and I started to win tournaments. I didn't go to as many tournaments where I could become rated. I do remember one tournament where there was a blue belt, and he came up to me, and he knew that I was going to have to spar this really tall green belt that he was demolishing everybody. So he thought I was going to lose to this guy. And the blue belt said, "Hey, I'm really a black belt, but I just want to win a trophy. So I put this blue belt on. I'm going to win this whole thing." So what was funny about this, I had to fight this tall competitor. He almost had a beard, and I was like, 12 or 13 years old. But what I said in my mind, I said to myself, when he puts his arm out, his arm is so long, I'm just going to move his arm aside and punch right through the body, right to the head. Every time he punches, I'm going to just block it and go right in. I had it in my mind, my technique. And I ended up, my instructor was like, "Oh, well, Jesse, you made it this far. Now you got to fight him. Don't worry about it. You did good." Everybody was assuming I was going to lose. Well, comes to be that I fight this really tall 6-foot kid, and I beat him. I mean, I don't think he got even 1 point. If he got 1 point, I would be surprised. And this is a pretty big national tournament. So then I had the fight the blue belt, who had told me he was a black belt. Because he told me that, I started fighting really hard. I believe I was a blue belt at the time. So it should have looked like we were equal. But because I knew he was a black belt, I went really hard, and I ended up beating him, and I won the tournament. I have the trophy where I won first place. And he stomped the ground and everything. It was funny because I beat a black belt. Time goes on, and I go to college, and I was training really hard. And I went to the martial arts club and had a lot of fun. The people really respected me there. They liked me. I was very good. I was probably one of the best martial artists there. I won many tournaments, and I didn't go to enough to be rated though. But what happened is, I got so good from practicing so many hours, I started to win. I beat a guy that was rated #1 in all of New England and basically one of the #1 competitors in the country. And he had beaten another guy who had his name was Billy Blanks. I never got to fight him. He was the Taibo guy, but this guy beat Billy Blanks a few times. And at that time, I beat him a few times. I think his name was Mike Conroy, something like that. So in any case, they were very highly rated in the country, and I was good. But I never got to go to too many tournaments because I was going to college. So I had to concentrate my workouts. And I would just do these, I had a simple workout. But one of the workouts I did during college was I would run up and down stairs. We had 6 flights of stairs in my dorm, and then we had a main floor and a basement. So that was like 8 flights. And I remember doing that many times, about 12 times, up and down 8 flights of stairs. So that's the equivalent of 96 floors. But when you do 96 floors and go up into a skyscraper for a competition, you're not going down. You're just going straight up, and then you're pretty much done. I was able to do that, go up and down, and it was 96 floors down as well. So 96 floors and 96, 180, 192 floors, or 100 and I think it's around 192 floors, something like that. You could check my math. And that was my workout, and nobody else would do it with me. Nobody else really could do it. I think a couple people tried, and they could only make a few times. So I would just very much concentrate my workouts. That would take me, who knows, I forgot how long. That was part of my workout a few times a week. And what it was is my preparation was concentrated, and it was well in advance, so I started to win. Now, I want to go forward. I started to realize that preparation was working. Now I go forward and I started investing in the stock market. I'll have to go back actually to high school. I started investing in the stock market. So I learned from certain books that if you followed the example of successful people, you would then be able to repeat some of their success. So I wanted to invest in stocks since I was little. I don't know why. That was just a thing that I liked. And I invested around $1,200 or $1,500 in a stock called Intervoice. I had to open an account with my mother because I was too young. I think I was maybe 15 or 16 or 17. I'm not sure. I think it was 17, and you had to be 18 to open a stock account, so my mother signed for me. And I learned about some very famous traders, and I learned what they do. And so I just latched onto this one stock, and I almost doubled my money in a few weeks, like 5 or 6 weeks. The stock was Intervoice. I made $1,200 to help me pay for my college tuition. And I'll backtrack before that. Before that, me and my friend Mike attempted to invest. Before I looked up that, before I used the method of finding out someone who is successful, we just bought a mutual fund. And it was 1987. It was like a month or so before the crash of 1987, October. So it had to be September, something like that. And we bought this mutual fund, and we each instantly lost, I don't know, $200 or $300. We didn't have much in it, but it was a shock. And the lesson to me was that will happen again one day, and I'll be able to make money or short the market, or I'll be able to wait till after the crash and invest. Okay, then later on, I go and I start doing the stocks myself. Fast forward, some wins, some losses, some good, some fun times with the stocks. And throughout college, I turned a few $1,000s into around $20,000. So I took that $20,000 and I'm investing it here and there and spending some, paying for my tuition. It was fun. I had one trade, I think it was a little bit after college, where I lost almost everything in my account. I did a very risky trade on margin, and the stock collapsed. It was Centacor. The stock went up sideways, and it collapsed, and I lost somewhere around $14,000 or $15,000. Now, luckily, I had extracted $5,000 to try commodities, so I still had that little commodities, and I had to add $400 to my account. And then when I went to see my broker, he said, "Oh no, you don't have to add anything." And he took me out to a slice of pizza, and he said, "How come you're not upset or anything?" I said, "Listen, I'm young." I said, "I know that pattern now. One day I'll see it again, and I'll be able to make money." So I go back, and I started making money again. Bought a stock called America Online. My earnings kept going up and up. I finally got around $25,000. And there was a stock called America Online. I think I bought it at around $24 a share, 1,000 shares. And this was my first big gain, because I would make 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, and it built my account up to around 24,000. So America Online then doubled, and it had one bad day, so I got out. I made $25,000. It was the biggest gain I ever made in around, 11 months or so. I remember Christmas time, though, people were laughing at me because the stock went from 24 to 21, and they were saying, "America Online, that's always busy." And my thought was it was always busy because people were trying to get online, so that was a good, company to own. Okay, so anyway, fast forward, going to college, I'm making money with stocks, blah, 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 and I did very well. Started making lots of money trading, and I was just bartending, managing a bar, moving up whatever I could. I'm gonna stop there, because then I worked for the NASDAQ stock market for 11 years, and I'll talk about that on a separate video. So want to go forward to I get married, and I quit the stock market as soon as my son Christopher was born. A few months after, they were having layoffs. Things were going on I didn't like, and I just said, I took a voluntary layoff. So my son Christopher was born in July. The layoff was November I took, and I just went on my own, taking care of my son. I was just so happy. I had plenty of money in the bank. I fixed up my house, what I'm in now, put a lot of money into the house. And when Christopher got 3 years old, all of a sudden he started saying, "Daddy, baseball. Daddy, baseball." I'm like, oh, okay. I liked baseball when I was a kid, but they never had a lefty glove for me. So I always had to use the righty glove and throw at my right hand, which I couldn't throw well. So sometimes I would catch the ball with my left hand and the glove on it, take the glove off, and then throw the ball in. I just wasn't very good. One teacher told me, gym teacher told me to watch the ball, so I actually started to hit really well. And far, people would back up when I hit the baseball. So that was earlier in like 4th or 5th grade as well. So that was another sign. When someone just gave me a little instruction, I excelled. So anyway, my little boy, so I started playing baseball with him in the backyard, bought him a little tee and a plastic ball and this and that. Next thing you know, we're in t-ball, and he's struggling a little bit. Next thing you know, we're past t-ball, and he's doing okay sometime and sometimes not. And so every time I decided, since I'm working at home, I started trading at home, had a few temp jobs, a few small businesses, some success, some fails. And I'm going along. I'm like, well, I'm going to utilize this time to spend with my boy. I have money saved. I have, skills to do businesses. I'm going to spend this time with my boy as much as I can. So every time I saw him struggle with something, we would work on it. He would struggle with throwing. We would throw in the backyard. He would struggle with hitting. I'd pitch to him till he could hit the ball, till he watched it better, and hundreds of times pitching it to him. I'd run with him a little bit. We'd do certain things. So time goes by, and all of a sudden he's 6, 7, 8, 9 years old. He's doing good, but we're working on things and this and that. He's hitting hard, and someone made a comment when he was around 7 or 8. They said, "Wow, he has such natural skills." This guy played baseball in college, and I'm thinking to myself, I kind of said to him, I said, it may look natural, but we worked on this, a few years already. He's already 7. We've been working on this since he was 4 years old. And so I remember that was a nice compliment. 8 and 9 years old come by. 9 years old, he's playing well, this and that. I'm not noticing it. I'm looking for the problems we got to fix. He's not having the growth spurt as his other friends are, so he's a little smaller. And what happens is, next thing you know, parents are starting to come up to me. A parent comes up to me one day who has an older son in baseball, is very good, and says, your son, he's so good in baseball. He has poise, presence, he's respectful. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? I'm thinking of the problems that we have to work on. We're layering, fixing problems. And he says, he's probably the best in the league at this point, for his age especially. I'm like, okay. And I'm kind of, okay. Another parent comes up to me, says the same thing. Another parent. I'm like, what is going on? All of a sudden, I kind of snapped out of the fact that I'm looking for a problem for us to work on with him. And I started to watch. And I did notice that sometimes when he played, it appeared he was playing at a much more advanced level than some of his peers. So I was very happy with that. And, but I still said, well, we got to work on it just the way I am. If I'm not going to be at a full-time corporate job and I got time with my boys, I'm going to spend it working with him. So we worked on it. And when he goes 9 years old, all of a sudden he wanted to start hitting home runs. I'm like, boy, you're smaller than, he saw one other kid hit a home run when he was 9, but this kid had his growth spurt. His father was big. He was just big. He was 9, looked like he was 11 or 12, and a little heavy, So he didn't hit any home runs when he was 9. So I said, you want to hit better? Well, we got to work on it. And I bought him something called a swing away. It's a bungee cord with a baseball in the middle. Somebody recommended it. I think the kid that hit the home run when he was 9, his father told us about it. And I've seen it before. I've seen a couple things, but I like this particular one. Bryce Harper recommended it. And it, like I said, it has a backstop square, and it's a bungee cord holds a baseball, and you hit the baseball towards the square to see if you're popping up and so forth. But you have to swing right through this equipment. So Christopher got excited, and him and his little brother went, and Christopher documented that he hit approximately 5,800 swings on the swing away. I made him do lefty-righty so his back wouldn't get out of whack, so his muscles developed on both sides. And a year goes by, he does that. We go and play, and he's hitting hard. He's playing good, just no home runs. I mean, he's hitting to the fence, too. So, a little disappointed, and then he was fielding so well. They put him in a lot of good positions. They might have overplayed him, and he then strained his Tommy John ligament. So we just basically shut him down at the end of the year. We played fall ball, and we shut him down. I didn't have him throw or anything. His Tommy John got better over a month or so, and we went back to swinging, but not as much. He did about 1,800. I think he did around 2,000. So now we have 8,000 swings that he's done to practice, and he's still not hitting home runs. The season started in April or May, and a couple of his friends hit the home runs, and he's like, oh, man, Dad, what's going on? I said, Christopher, I don't know what to say. You're fielding well, you're pitching well, you're playing well. Oh, my God, I don't know what to say. A home run has to be a perfect pitch. But I said, if it's that important to you, say a prayer. Ask God that you can hit a home run, because I don't know what else to do. I listen to Joel Osteen in the car. I listen to inspirational things, and that's what he would have said. You talk to God. So I told him to do that, and I'm going to every game, coaching every game, because I want to see his first home run. I went this far without working for corporate America. Let me see his first home run. So we go to one game, and there's a 12-year-old pitcher, really nice kid, throws him a really nice pitch in a big field, and Christopher, bam, hits his first home run. So let's see. That was May 21st, 2016. So there's his first home run. Okay, and I was so happy. So the next day, that was Kovacs versus Thurstons. I'm not going to say who the pitcher is or anything, but the pitcher did a great job. So we go to, he's so happy, he got a picture of Christopher holding the ball, and he's finally hit his home run. So the next day, I decided, well, I saw his first home run. I have to get some work done. I need to make some money. I had to go to New York, take care of something. So I go to the Bronx, Brooklyn, and then Queens. So I'm going on my way to Brooklyn, and I have some clients with me, and I get a call, and I told Christopher, I said, you have your game today, but I'm going to go do some work. And I had my younger son stay with another parent. I said, can you videotape some of Christopher's game for me, maybe? He said, okay, Dad. He took Christopher's phone. And Jack is 4 years younger than Christopher. So I'm going on my way to New York, and Jack calls me and said, Dad, Christopher hit another home run against a 12-year-old pitcher. I'm like, wow, that's awesome. Oh, well, I missed that. At least I saw the first one. That's great. So then we got home run number 2 on May 22nd. That was the second home run. And I was so happy, and I'm coming back. Then I'm going to Queens, and either 2 Queens or on my way home, I get another call from my son Jack. He's kind of a kidder though, and he said, "Dad, Christopher hit another home run." And I'm like, "Oh, stop kidding me." I'm not believing it, Same pitcher. And then my son Jack said, "And he hit a grand slam." And I hear him laughing in the background and stuff. I think he's joking with me. So I'm like, "Jack, oh, stop joking with me. That's funny." But I had time to talk, so I didn't mind it. And he said, "No, Dad, I got a video." At that point, I stopped, and I just, surreal moment. I was like, 3 home runs in 2 days and a grand slam. And I posted the video. It's on my YouTube channel here. You can see it. That's his third home run, and that was this home run number 3. So, like I said, he's not having his growth spurt. He's smaller than the other kids. Hits 3 home runs. Okay. So the next day I come back to coach. It's Sunday, I believe, and we had 3 games in a row. So he hits against that first 12-year-old hitter, the same pitcher in the second game, throws him 2 home runs. Go to the next game. This is a harder pitcher, taller kid. He throws off speed, slow, this and that. And we're in the game, and that kid hit a home run. He's a 12-year-old kid. So he's the last year of his Little League. My son, last year is going to be this year coming up on the small diamond. So this kid hits a home run, and then he's pitching, and it's like we're having real trouble with this team. So, next thing you know, I'm standing there, and I'm like, thanks, God, for letting Christopher hit those 2 home runs yesterday. Geez, I wish I could have saw it. What happens next? Christopher hits against the same kid that just hit one. He hits a home run. Not only did he hit it over the fence, it went over the batting cages, too, against a 12-year-old pitcher. So, that was home run number 4 in 3 days. Okay, so people were kind of being quiet a little bit. It was kind of surreal, almost like spiritual, because we're like, 4 home runs in 3 days. That's unbelievable for a kid that's, not too big and things like that. And I was like, thanks, you let me see another home run. We go by, they put an elite pitcher in. I call this kid an elite pitcher because I think he's a very good player. His father's super hard on him. Even if he does good, his father says, he's not happy with it. But this kid is good. And they put him in to just stop us from hitting because they didn't want Christopher to hit a home run or anything anymore. And what happened is, go on and on, a couple innings. Christopher gets up to bat. Bam. Hits a home run against them. At this point, the audience, the crowd was like clapping, but they were kind of silent. Christopher got home run number 5 in 3 days. Unbelievable. Against a very good pitcher. Now, I want to give kudos to all these pitchers because you have to have a good pitch. Christopher was getting walked, for months and months. That was one of the reasons why he wasn't hitting home runs. But one parent came up, "What are you feeding him?" And I just made a joke, "Steroids." I was laughing. It felt a little bit spiritual, but I knew that also the 8,000 swings that he did were starting to come out, and they just came out at that period. Now, I think a week before that as well, he saw somebody swinging on a tee, and it was an older kid, so he might have got a little bit of his technique as well. That might have sparked it. But I was like, thank you, God, you let me see the 2 home runs in one game that I missed the day before. I only wish I saw the grand slam. So 2 weeks go by. I know Christopher started to realize all the work he put into started to pay off. 2 weeks go by, and nothing happened. No more home runs. So Christopher's in a slump all of a sudden the last couple of days of the 2 weeks, and we go to his travel team. The 5 home runs were against his Little League team, where he's about the middle in the age. There's younger kids and there's older kids in him. The travel team, they're all about the same age, but it's a much tougher team. The kids that really play baseball a lot more are on these travel teams, and so it's harder. So Christopher, we had a double header, and he goes and he's not swinging at third strikes. I just felt like he was out of it. He just, maybe he was tired, but I kind of got a little aggravated, and I wanted to push him a little bit. And I looked at him after the first game, and I said, Christopher, they had a pool party. I said, I don't think you should be going to the pool party. If we did all this work, you're not going to swing at third strikes. I said, you did it 2 or 3 times in this game. You got to swing. You can't expect to get walked. He looked at me, and I think I got to him, got to his head. So I went to Walmart with my younger son, Jack, and we're coming back. And I got back a little late. I didn't realize the game would start so fast. They must have started a little quicker than I thought. And I saw that Christopher was up to bat. So instead of parking to the left, I parked right next to the field, just left my car running, jumped out, put it in park, and went to see. Right before that, when I was coming from Walmart, my younger son, Jack, said, Daddy, what if Christopher hits another home run after you told him to swing? I said, that would be great, Jack, but he hit 5 home runs. Not much more we can ask for. That's pretty awesome. I said, I wish I saw his grand slam, but whatever. He goes, Dad, what if he hits a grand slam? I said, Jack, I'll give you and him money. I said, I'll give you a lot, like $20 each. I didn't say that much, but that's a lot for them. And he goes, okay, deal. And so we go back, and my son, like I said, I parked the car, and he's up to bat. And I look, and the bases are loaded. Now, I'm going to explain something quickly. Christopher had a new bat where he hit the 5 home runs. This isn't actually the bat. This is like the bat because we bought a bat like this, and he actually hit so hard with it that he cracked it. So Easton, Just Bats, had a warranty, and they gave us this one. I wanted to keep the one, but we needed to get him another bat, and they're expensive, so I didn't want to just buy another one. So Christopher's up to bat, but he's with his older bat. This bat is an older bat. And it's lighter, so it doesn't hit it's not as heavy, maybe a little less pop than the other bat. So he uses that for faster pitchers. So the pitcher he felt was fast, and the field is larger. It's like 225 or 230 feet, something like that. It's a bigger field as well. So I'm looking at my son Jack, and I'm like, no way. There's 3 people on base. And a couple swings go by, whatever tips. He hits a grand slam. And this is 2 weeks later. So that was number 6 against the Clippers of Groton at Harrison Park. Home run number 6 on a Sunday. I was like, thanks, God, for letting me see the grand slam that I, missed that first day. So time goes on. And that was just a very exciting event. He hit home run number 7 a little later. In Orange, Connecticut. Nice big field. He went to Cooperstown in August. Hit home run number 8. Hit home run number 9. I'll show you in this box. Oops. They engraved these balls. So that's his first one, number 8. And then number 9 is the other one. And, being that he didn't have his growth spurt, I think this is pretty good. Number 2, Cooperstown, New York. They engrave it for you after you hit it. And then in fall ball, he, kind of slowed down on the home runs. And in fall ball, he hit 1 more. So that was number 10. Okay. At this point, getting burnt out from baseball, but 10 home runs in 1 year. So that was from preparation. So how to win, it took basically, 2 years and 8,000 swings, maybe 10,000 because I pitched to him as well to get to that point. Now that this season we were undefeated, our little league team. That's the first time that's happened in like 20 something years, an undefeated season. And I know Christopher, everybody on the team was excellent, and just Christopher played a nice part. We also, that team won the Mayor's Cup, which never has happened before. So we're totally undefeated, even through the Mayor's Cup when we played the other side of town. And they held the trophy for years and years. So then we go to Christopher's Cooperstown, and he did really well. In Cooperstown, he hit the 2 home runs in one game, and he was the youngest on the team. Unbelievable. And then in fall ball, he kind of wound down a little bit. He hit that 1 home run, but the championship game came. We were undefeated in the fall ball team too. In his travel team, in the spring was defeated a few times, but the fall ball was not. So in fall ball, we had a championship game, and the team that we originally played that tied us we're gonna play them for the championship game, and they were big kids. And I told Christopher, we have to prepare a few days. I know you did all the years of work, but this team is really good. We might only win by 1 point. So I took Christopher out. I threw him like 200 balls in a couple days, 1 or 2 days. I brought him right before the game, brought him to the cages and threw to him. And sure enough, he made 1 score. He didn't make the last score, but we won by 1. So it just shows you how to prepare. You have to prepare to win and make extraordinary events. I had to prepare years and years to learn how to trade. Now my trading has come to slow down a little bit. And I'm trying to figure things out. So I have to actually change and deal with that. But in any case, that is how to win, to prepare well in advance. A lot of kids, they play baseball, they get ready a month before. The really good kids at baseball, basketball, they practice all year round, or they practice, months and months before. They take a little break, and they don't wait till 1 month or 1 week before. So preparation way ahead of time is one way of how to win. And I just wanted to tell you by those stories. I hope those stories kind of sink in. People watching were enjoying Christopher hit the ball. Okay, I was enjoying it. But Christopher didn't always enjoy going downstairs swinging, 30 or 40 times. When you hit 6,000 swings, it sounds like a lot. But you only do 40 or 50 a day. A couple of times he did like 100 or 200 a day, and I told him it was just too much. You can't get that time back. You have to do 40 or 50 a day, rest your muscles. Sometimes you got to rest in between so you don't get strained. But preparation well in advance, a steady, consistent preparation is what's going to help you win and to excel at things, to constantly improve your technique. So we constantly improved. When he was off the swing away, I'd throw to him so he can tweak how he was hitting the ball and things like that. So that's some of the stories. You look at companies like I have a Nissan Altima 2013. Look at the Nissan Altima 2000, 1990s, 2000, 2008. They're always changing. They're always improving it. I look at the Nissan Altimas from 10 years ago, not anywhere near as nice as the one I have. The car company's got it. Apple Computer has it with the iPhone. They constantly improve the iPhone, make it better and better. They add the iPhone is not just a phone. It's a computer. It's a video camera. It's a still camera. It has a mapping system. It's a GPS. It's a texting service. So to constantly improve something is the way to be super successful. But it's not always going to work. There has to be some luck involved. Sometimes there has to be some kind of skills, some kind of attention and marketing involved. There's a lot of good products that have failed and went to the side before they can, have enough funds to keep improving. So there is some, other element involved. God, luck, both. So what I want to say to you, though, is the only chance you have is to constantly improve. Get something good, make it good. Whether you have a restaurant, keep asking the patrons, keep tasting your food, making sure it's better and better. Improve the health of it, improve the taste of it. You have a service, you make your restaurant more cleaner. Anything you do, you want to lose weight, you want to be in better shape, eat a little bit better, exercise a little more wiser, try different techniques, tweak your exercise regimen. That's how you can excel and win and improve. And I'm working on myself. I'm a little overweight now. I've got a few issues with businesses and stuff like that I got to work on. I have consulted some companies. I consulted one of my friends who has a landscaping company. His wife died when he was younger, so I just took it upon myself to work with him for years. Within 1 month, when he really started to listen to me, he went from struggling to being 6-figure incomes in his landscaping business. Another smaller landscaper friend of mine didn't want to grow that big, but I told him similar consulting. He did the same thing. And I've helped a lot of friends and people and family and through martial arts and so forth. When I ran a martial arts school for a nonprofit, a lot of the people there started to excel at their businesses and their jobs and ended up not coming to class after because they were so busy after. But they enjoyed it and they missed it. They'd come back to me years later and say, man, I just got so busy with my business. And I would, talk them into what you call motivation or inspiration or encouragement. So I've decided to start, doing videos like this to help other people so I can do it when I'm asleep. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Send it to someone else. And this is how you win. It's not a secret. It's not a, I know there are kids that are bigger than my son Christopher, and they have their growth spurt, so they hit a lot of home runs. But Christopher was not that. We had to work on it, and that's what most of us have to do. We have to work on things. So whether it's a new service, you see the companies today. Uber is an improvement over taxi services, but the only reason it's an improvement is because we have the mobile telephone devices, the mobile devices. Without the mobile devices, we couldn't have a company like Uber. You don't carry a computer in your pocket, big fat computer, but a phone, an iPhone now or a Samsung phone or whatever, is pretty much a supercomputer you're carrying in your pocket. That's why we can do and have a service like Uber. So anyway, that's my story. I hope this is an improvement that explains better what I wanted to do in that video 1. So this will be how to win version 2. And I hope you're getting what I'm doing. I'm going to keep trying to improve my videos and improve my speaking. And I'll check it over and see if there's anything else that I left out. Thank you very much. Have a great new year. Let's start this out right. Bye.